For the introductory page, I included an old school postcard which showcases how many Americans view Puerto Rico as a place to simply go on vacation. However, America has also forced Puerto Rico into poverty on an economic scale. Many large companies put manufacturing plants there and take advantage of cheap labor. As you can see from the graphic, over 50% of Puerto Rico's GDP is from the manufacturing industry. In addition, acts like the Merchant Marine Act has forced major trade regulations on Puerto Rico, which further hurt their economy. Now, the code of conduct which I propose America follow first focuses on agriculture and land. The United States forced an economy in Puerto Rico that was based on three things: sugarcane, tobacco, and coffee. As a result, the island began to rely on these crops heavily. However, the sugarcane high eventually came to a crashing halt and took the island's business with it. As a result, America passed an act called the Industrial Incentives Act of 1947, which granted companies a 10-year exemption on an array of taxes in order to incentivize them to set up shop on the island. The manufacturing sector soon took over agriculture. And as we all know, a country that abandons its agriculture sector is doomed, as it enslaves itself to other countries to make their own food. This is why I propose that the United States government should return to the people of Puerto Rico the land that they occupy and respect their fundamental human rights, and thereby support them in the pursuit of an independent agricultural practice. Next, immigration is a major part of Puerto Rico's declining population. Starting soon after World War II, poverty, cheap airfare, and promotion by the local government caused waves of Puerto Ricans to move to the mainland United States. This trend continued even as Puerto Rico's economy improved and its birth rate declined. In recent years, the population has declined markedly, falling nearly 1% in 2012 and an additional 1%, 36,000 people, in 2013 due to a falling birth rate and immigration. This is why I propose that the United States provide travel stipends to those who would be more willing to move back to their homeland and revitalize Puerto Rico. Next, trade. Puerto Rico is subject to the Commerce and Territorial Clause of the Constitution of the United States and therefore is restricted on how it can engage with other nations. They share most of the opportunities and limitations that state governments have, albeit not being one. Puerto Rico is also subject to the different treaties and trade agreements ratified by the United States, as well as all other laws enacted on a federal level. So, I propose that the United States campaign on behalf of Puerto Rico with countries the United States are on good terms with, and promise certain trade agreements to only trade with Puerto Rico. Finally, Puerto Rico's infrastructure. At a global scale, Puerto Rico's dependency on oil for transportation and electricity generation, as well as its dependency on food imports and raw materials, makes Puerto Rico volatile and highly reactive to changes in the world economy and climate. I propose that the U.S. provide reparations in the form of money in order to build up the country's own infrastructure, as opposed to relying on others. Thank you very much for listening.